In an age that worshipped reason, that trusted logic more than blood, that believed the human mind could calculate truth as if it were an equation, there was one man who quietly stepped back, and he asked a dangerous question: what if reason does not save us? What if, instead of leading us toward truth, it slowly drains meaning from the world? His name was Friedrich Heinrich Jacobi. He lived at the edge of the Enlightenment, at the moment when Europe believed it had finally escaped darkness. Science was rising. Systems were forming. Philosophy was becoming architecture, clean, elegant, rational. But Jacobi sensed something rotting beneath the surface. He saw a future where reason explains everything, and yet understands nothing. A future where God becomes a concept, morality becomes calculation, and the human soul is reduced to a function. He warned that if we follow reason alone, without faith, without immediate experience, without feeling, we do not arrive at truth. We arrive at nihilism, long before Nietzsche screamed it. Jacobi whispered it. He believed that the most important truths in life cannot be proven, cannot be deduced, cannot be justified by logic alone. They must be believed, and this belief not blind superstition, but a direct, lived certainty is what reason can never produce. Tonight, we enter the mind of a philosopher who stood against the intellectual tide of his time. A man who challenged Kant, Spinoza, and the entire Enlightenment project. A man who dared to say that pure reason leads not to freedom, but to emptiness. Before we continue, if you are drawn to philosophy, dark reflection, and stories that challenge certainty itself, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support allows these quiet, difficult ideas to find a voice. Now, let us begin where Jacobi began. At the moment where reason realizes it cannot stand on its own. Friedrich Heinrich Jacobi was born into an age that worshipped reason. The Enlightenment promised clarity. It promised order. It promised that human reason, if sharpened enough, could explain everything. But Jacobi sensed something was wrong. He grew up surrounded by thinkers who believed the world could be reduced to systems, definitions, and proofs. Yet the more he listened, the more uneasy he became, because life as Jacobi experienced it was not neat, not logical, not transparent. It was fragile, contradictory, and filled with moments that reason could not justify. From early on, Jacobi noticed a quiet violence inside rational explanations. They explained how things functioned, but never why they mattered. They described the mechanics of existence, but drained it of warmth, mystery, and meaning. Reason, he felt, was becoming a cold instrument capable of analysis, yet incapable of consolation. He studied philosophy, read the giants of thought, and admired their brilliance, but admiration slowly turned into suspicion, because every system that claimed to explain everything seemed to erase something essential: human freedom, immediate experience, living faith. Jacobi began to ask a dangerous question: what if reason, when taken too far, does not lead to truth but to emptiness? This question placed him on a collision course with the dominant spirit of his time. The Enlightenment believed that reason was the highest authority. Jacobi believed that making reason absolute would destroy what it tried to understand. He observed how rational systems turned living reality into abstractions, how human beings became concepts, how emotions were dismissed as weakness, how faith was treated as an error to be corrected, and slowly, Jacobi realized something unsettling: pure rationalism, when followed to its logical end, leads not to certainty but to nihilism, a world where nothing is truly real, nothing is sacred, and nothing holds intrinsic value, a world explained perfectly, yet felt by no one. This insight haunted him. He was not rejecting reason entirely. He was rejecting its tyranny. He believed reason was a tool, not a foundation, a servant, not a god. Jacobi felt that the most important truths arrive not through deduction, but through immediate awareness, through belief, through feeling, through what he would later call a direct intuition of reality. He wrote, "Truth must be felt before it is understood." This belief made him dangerous, because a philosopher who questions reason itself threatens the entire intellectual order. Jacobi did not want to dismantle thought. He wanted to rescue the human soul from being crushed by it, scene by scene, argument by argument. He prepared himself to challenge the most powerful minds of his century, and in doing so, he unknowingly planted the seed of a crisis that modern philosophy still struggles to resolve. The question he raised was simple, yet devastating. If reason explains everything, what is left to believe in? And if belief disappears, what becomes of meaning? This was the beginning of Jacobi's journey, not toward certainty but toward a deeper, more dangerous honesty. Jacobi did not reject reason because he was weak. He rejected reason because he followed it too far. He watched the Enlightenment promise liberation through logic, through systems, through proofs and definitions. And at first he believed. He believed that reason would lead humanity toward clarity, toward certainty, toward truth. But the deeper he went, the more something unsettling revealed itself. Reason did not end in freedom. It ended in necessity. And necessity, when taken seriously, ended in something terrifying, determinism. Jacobi saw what others refused to see. If everything must be explained, if every cause must be traced to another cause, then freedom dissolves. Choice becomes illusion. Responsibility becomes theater, and meaning collapses into mechanics. He followed rationalism to its logical conclusion, and what waited there was not enlightenment, but emptiness. He wrote, without the presupposition of freedom. Reason itself collapses, yet reason alone could not prove freedom. And that was the problem. Jacobi entered into one of the most explosive intellectual battles of his time. His confrontation with Baruch Spinoza. Spinoza's philosophy was elegant, cold, perfectly consistent. A universe governed by necessity, where God and nature were one and the same, and everything followed inevitably from what came before. Many praised Spinoza's system as rational and beautiful. Jacobi saw it as lethal. He famously declared, Spinozism leads inevitably to atheism. And atheism leads to nihilism, not because Spinoza denied God, but because Spinoza dissolved the living God into an abstract structure, a God without will, without personality, without freedom, and in doing so, he dissolved the human being as well. Jacobi's accusation was radical. Pure reason, when left alone, does not save meaning. It annihilates it. The more rational the system becomes, the less room there is for life. He did not oppose reason with ignorance. He opposed reason with something far more dangerous, immediate belief. Jacobi argued that the most fundamental truths of existence cannot be proven. They must be presupposed: freedom, the existence of the external world, God, moral responsibility. These are not conclusions of logic. They are starting points. He wrote, we do not know these things by demonstration, but by faith. And here the word faith does not mean blind obedience. It means direct awareness, an immediate certainty that comes before reflection, before argument, before doubt. Jacobi believed that the moment you try to prove everything, you lose the very ground on which proof stands. Reason is a tool, not a foundation. When philosophers tried to turn reason into the foundation of all reality, they unknowingly removed the human being from the world. This made Jacobi deeply unpopular. He was accused of irrationalism, of mysticism, of dragging philosophy backward into darkness. But Jacobi did not retreat. He sharpened his position. He argued that modern philosophy was slowly erasing everything that makes life livable. Love reduced to chemistry, ethics reduced to calculation, faith reduced to superstition, freedom reduced to illusion. He warned that a world built on pure reason would be a world without soul, and history silently began to agree with him. Jacobi was not nostalgic. He did not want to abandon thought. He wanted to save it from becoming inhuman. He stood at the edge of the abyss and said, if we do not allow something unprovable, something immediate, something alive, then thought itself will destroy the thinker. Reason without limits becomes tyranny, and freedom, once lost, cannot be reconstructed by logic alone. This was Jacobi's second fracture with his age. Not only did he challenge optimism, he challenged the very method by which truth was pursued, and now this challenge will push him into direct confrontation with the giants of German idealism, a conflict that will define his legacy. Jacobi saw something that terrified him, something most philosophers refuse to name. He saw that pure reason, when pushed to its limits, does not lead to truth. It leads to emptiness. Step by step, logic strips the world of meaning. Causality replaces wonder. Mechanism replaces purpose. God becomes a concept. The soul becomes a function. And finally, everything becomes explainable, and therefore lifeless. Jacobi was one of the first thinkers to use a word that would later haunt modern philosophy. Nihilism. To him, nihilism was not chaos or rebellion. It was something colder, something quieter. It was the realization that reason alone cannot justify why anything should exist at all. He argued that rational systems, when fully consistent, inevitably dissolve meaning. If everything must be proven, then nothing can be lived. If every belief must be justified, then no belief can be trusted. Jacobi wrote, "Without this leap I cannot enter philosophy. But with it philosophy ends." That leap was faith, not blind belief, not religious dogma, but an immediate certainty, a direct awareness of being. Reason moves step by step. Faith arrives all at once. He believed that existence itself is known before it is explained, that we do not reason our way into reality. We find ourselves already inside it. Jacobi warned his contemporaries, if you replace lived certainty with endless explanation, you will awaken in a world that no longer feels real, a world where freedom becomes an illusion, where morality becomes calculation, where God becomes a variable, and humanity becomes an accident. This was not abstract fear. It was prophetic. Jacobi saw modernity approaching, a future governed by systems, by formulas, by structures too complex for the individual to resist. He saw how rationalism could become tyranny, not through violence but through justification. Everything permitted, nothing sacred. He accused philosophers of building prisons out of logic, elegant prisons, perfectly rational prisons, where the human spirit slowly suffocates. Jacobi, the greatest danger was not ignorance, it was explanation without reverence. He wrote, "The path of demonstration ends in fatalism, and fatalism is the death of responsibility. If everything follows necessity, then no one is truly accountable, no one truly free, no one truly guilty." Jacobi refused this conclusion. He insisted that freedom is felt, not deduced, that moral responsibility arises from immediate awareness, not from systems of proof. This placed him in permanent opposition to the dominant intellectual currents of his time. He was labeled irrational, reactionary, anti-philosophical, but Jacobi accepted this exile. Better to be excluded from reason, he believed, than included in a system that erases the human soul. He stood at the edge of philosophy and refused to take one more logical step into nothingness, and in doing so, he became one of the earliest voices to diagnose the spiritual crisis of the modern world, a crisis we are still living inside today. Jacobi grew older, and the world around him grew louder. Philosophy moved forward with confidence. Systems multiplied, concepts hardened, certainty became fashionable. But Jacobi stood still, not because he lacked intelligence, but because he sensed something profoundly wrong in the direction human thought was taking. He watched philosophy turn into architecture, perfectly structured, impressive, cold. He believed that reason, when left alone, does not lead to truth. It leads to emptiness. Jacobi warned that a world explained entirely by logic would become a world without meaning, a universe reduced to necessity, a cosmos where freedom dissolves into equations. He wrote that pure rationalism, taken to its final conclusion, ends in nihilism, not rebellion, not chaos, but a quiet, sterile nothingness where values collapse and existence explains itself away. For Jacobi, this was not a theoretical danger. It was a spiritual catastrophe. He believed that reason could describe the world, but it could never justify why we should care. It could explain motion, but not purpose. It could dissect reality, but not make it worth enduring. And so Jacobi made a radical claim. He said that the most important truths are not proven. They are felt: God, freedom, moral responsibility, the existence of the external world itself. All of these, he argued, are not conclusions of logic, but immediate certainties of consciousness. He called this belief not blind faith, not superstition, but direct knowing, a knowing deeper than argument, More intimate than proof.to Jacobi, the human being does not begin with doubt. The human being begins with trust. We trust that the world exists. We trust that others are real. We trust that good and evil matter. Only later do we analyze. Only later do we doubt. Reason comes after life, not before it. This position made him dangerous. To some, irrational. To others, reactionary. But Jacobi did not retreat. He embraced the paradox. He accepted that existence is not fully explainable. That meaning is not guaranteed by systems. That certainty comes at the cost of mystery, and he chose mystery. He chose the risk of belief over the safety of emptiness. He wrote, "Without this leap, I remain in an eternal circle of explanations that explain nothing." This leap was not comfort. It was courage. To believe for Jacobi was to stand on the edge of the abyss without demanding a bridge. To accept that life is given before it is understood. In his later years, Jacobi was no longer fighting specific philosophers. He was fighting a direction of thought, a direction that reduced humans to functions, that replaced meaning with mechanism, that worshipped clarity and forgot wisdom. He saw modernity approaching, a world ruled by systems, by efficiency, by rational justification, and he feared that humanity would lose its most fragile possession, the ability to say this matters without needing to prove it. Jacobi did not offer solutions. He offered resistance, resistance against a world that demands everything be explained, resistance against philosophies that erase wonder in the name of certainty. He believed that the deepest truths cannot survive interrogation. They survive only reverence, and so Jacobi remains a solitary figure at the edge of philosophy, not building a system, not founding a school, but standing as a warning that when reason becomes absolute, it devours the soul, and when belief disappears, nihilism does not arrive loudly. It arrives quietly, politely, logically. This was Jacobi's final insight, that the greatest danger is not chaos. It is a perfectly explained world that no longer knows why it should exist. Jacobi's life does not end with answers. It ends with a warning whispered across centuries, meant for a world that worships reason yet trembles in silence. He never claimed to possess truth. He only insisted on something more dangerous, that truth cannot be reduced to systems, to formulas, to perfect chains of logic. For Jacobi, reason was powerful but incomplete, precise but cold, capable of explaining the world, yet incapable of giving it meaning. He saw what many refuse to see, that when reason stands alone, it begins to devour itself, that when everything must be justified, nothing can be loved, that when faith is exiled from thought, nihilism quietly takes its place. Jacobi wrote, "Without a you, the I is impossible." In this single sentence, he exposed the loneliness at the heart of modern consciousness, a world where the self circles endlessly around itself, unable to touch anything real, unable to rest. He did not offer comfort. He did not offer optimism. He offered honesty. He reminded us that belief is not weakness, that immediacy is not ignorance, that the heart knows truths the intellect can only circle from afar. Jacobi stood at the threshold between enlightenment and despair, between reason and faith, between certainty and collapse, and he chose to stand still, not to resolve the tension, but to preserve it, because some tensions are not meant to be solved. They are meant to be lived. Today we live in the world Jacobi foresaw, a world of infinite explanations and shrinking meaning, a world of brilliant systems and silent souls, a world where we know more than ever, yet believe in almost nothing. And perhaps that is why his voice still matters, not because he gives us answers, but because he reminds us that not everything meaningful can be proven, that some truths must be felt before they can be understood, that beyond reason there is not emptiness but risk, and within that risk the possibility of meaning. If this journey into Jacobi's thought resonated with you, if it unsettled you or made you pause or question the ground beneath your certainty, then this story has done its work. Support this exploration of forgotten minds and dangerous ideas. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who still believe that thinking should be allowed to hurt, because philosophy does not exist to make us comfortable. It exists to make us awake.